Day 22 of Heel.Sit's Train Your Dog Month series, and we are back and we are still working on place. As always, I'm going to warm up with the treat toss game to see how Walton's feeling. He's doing great, so I plop the mat down. Now, because I'm standing and I've changed the picture, I'm going to go back to the beginning and toss a treat for any time he engages with the mat, whether that be looking at it, touching it with his nose, or his foot. There, he stepped on the mat. It was mostly an accident, but I'm going to take it and toss a treat away. This time he came back with a very intentional foot touch, definitely tossing a treat away from that. I'm going to let him work his way back into getting his whole body on the mat. Because, again, I'm standing, this looks a little different. There he gave me a pretty good sit, even though he wasn't all the way on the mat. And I realized that I kind of made a mistake putting the mat this direction because he's a long boy and there's no way he's going to get his body on there very easily. But I am very happy to see that with me standing, he comes right back in and he's going right into that sit. If you've been warming up the treat toss game a lot and waiting and shaping those sits, that part should be pretty easy. The harder part comes when you start moving away and you get to see whether the dog is actually associating this behavior with the mat or if they're just offering those sits as they've been conditioned to do. Here I'm trying to move the mat away, but it's so sticky it won't scoot, so I end up having to scoot backwards more instead. But you can see now that the mat is turned, Walton's able to get his whole body on there pretty easily and he's going right into a sit. So I backed up even a little bit more, and this is the interesting part because we get to see if he starts filling in that gap between me and the mat or if he goes to the mat. So there he's got just the very edge of his butt on. I waited and he scooted further onto the mat. So that tells me he is starting to understand that, oh, this is about the mat. This whole time I'm not using a cue. I'm just simply staring at the mat. Even right here where he's offering me this really cute, great sit, I'm looking right past him at the mat to let him know that that is actually what I'm looking for. It's a context clue that dogs are very good at picking up on. I want him to know that, hey, if that bed's there, maybe that's what I should be engaging with. I also want him to be really aware of what I'm paying attention to help tell him what he should be engaging with. He gets a little confused and he walks a circle around me and then comes right back to the mat, and every time he's giving me these really good sits, and all I'm doing is tossing treats away for that. Now when he's sitting on there, I could drop one to him and then toss one away just to give him a little extra reinforcement, but I like to just kind of keep the game moving by sending the dog away to reset them and let them come in again. I think the movement's really helpful for this. Here, I'm just waiting. You can see that he's kind of moved into heel position, which is something I've been working on with him. And it's very cute, but I'm still just being very patient and staring at the bed. And what's really incredible about this is you're going to see him come back around and fix it. You can see him putting these puzzle pieces together. And I really enjoy that he's trying a lot of other things when he's not sure. He's giving me sits, he's giving me downs, he's moving into heel, he's giving me really great eye contact. He's running through all the things that he knows to get to the right answer. And this looks very different than a dog that's just frantically offering tricks or behavior in hopes of getting a treat. You can see his wheels turning where he's like, all right, I know a lot of times this sit and eye contact is what works. It's not working. What else do I have in my toolbox that might get me where I want to go? This is also how I would start teaching a foot target. I would just make the mat smaller, either by folding the mat up, or I might get a smaller towel, washcloth, or my favorite thing to do is to actually cut yoga mats to the size I want. This is a time I would probably use a marker word or a clicker. Once they're stepping onto the mat, I would click and toss away so they understand that just getting their feet on there is all that's required. If they know and are comfortable with place, it is usually super easy and they pick that up really fast. I plan on making a separate video for that, but this is the beginning of that behavior. Anyway, back to place. But he is doing such a good job of staying focused. I'm really loving to see his work ethic coming out and how long he's able to stick with things. He kind of kept circling around behind me and staring at me for a second, and then that was how he was resetting himself, to the point where I was worried that that was becoming part of the behavior. Like he thought that walking behind me and going to place was how this worked. He did figure out that that was not part of it, though. I left this video a little bit longer so that you can see how often he kind of misses the mark or gets confused, but then does get there in the end without me helping at all, without me having to intervene at all, or nag him or lure him on there. I'm not even giving him hints. I'm just staying really still and staring at the mat. And he might get a little lost, but he comes right back and gets the right answer every time. There's no pressure here, and I'm not getting hung up on him doing it perfectly every time. I'm just getting really excited when he does do it. I love watching dogs learn like this. I am going to post a second part of this video tomorrow as a bonus.